Hello, welcome to I Think You Think. Hello. Yeah, you can see me right away. I don't know if you guys really want to see me right away while I'm, reading through our specials,
Our
our
specials for the day.
our specials of the day, our opening, our special opening, or if you'd rather see the picture, but yeah, whatever. Today is going to be the picture of me. So, hello, today is June 15th, 2013, and you're listening to I Think You Think, a podcast that puts a new spin on debate and discussion. I'm Justin, and on the other side of my computer screen is James.
Hello, folks, and hello, Ross, who just joined our chat.
Yeah, hello, Ross. We carry no credentials worth noting. Interesting. Sorry about that. There we go. I Think You Think is a podcast that focuses on what we, your hosts, think, but also what you think. Too many times we spend debates and discussions talking past one another, not enough time trying to learn and understand why someone thinks what they think. This is what makes I Think You Think different, because we are focused on why people think the way that they do and why we think the way that we do. James and I believe that the forum of ideas should be open to everyone, and everyone should have the opportunity to challenge and be challenged by ideas. We are not here to pass judgment, but merely discuss ideas and topics. This podcast, first and foremost, is a conversation between us and hopefully you. Please feel free to email us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at our Chicago Now blogs, which I'm always really bad about updating. The links for each of these can be found in the underbar of the video. Also, they can be found on our Facebook page. Also, if you write really fast, facebook.com/ithink.youthink, chicagonow.com/I-think-you-think, twitter.com/ithink_youthink. I Think You Think is produced by StolenArts Productions and is recorded live at Fisher International Studios. How are you doing today, James?
I am doing well. How are you doing today?
I am also doing well. Yes, we are going. This week is our Science and Technology Week, so we were going to talk a little bit about E3, which was this last couple of days, and some of the announcements from Sony and some of the announcements from Microsoft and the games, and then we'll also talk a little bit about the Steam Box, which there wasn't a lot said at E3 about the Steam Box, right?
There were some questions. Hey, where's the Steam Box? But it seems to be it from what I read.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that, some of the old information we have about the Steam Box and how the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One kind of compares and what our kind of thoughts are. I mean, we've already talked a little bit about the Xbox One, and I think back when the PS4 might have introduced, we may have talked very briefly. But there we go. So that is what is ahead for everybody for the next hour. Before we dive into it, though, I have a grand, amazing announcement. I have beat the main quest of Skyrim. Finally, I just, buckled down and did it.
Well, congratulations, sir.
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed by the end of the game. It was kind of like, oh, I just finished a quest, but no, that was like the end of the game. So now I've started working on other quests and also going after achievements. Like I walked around and pickpocketed a bunch of people so I could get the thief achievement. And then I went around and killed a bunch of people so I could get 1,000 bounty in every single one of the cities. So that is how I've been spending my week. How about you, James?
A lot of work. Earlier this week, I got my first tattoo ever, and that was exciting, and I'm very happy with it. Roselle Tattoo Company over in Roselle did a great job. They have a lot of good artists there. Beyond that, I've been reading. I've been reading a lot. I know I talked a couple podcasts back about the 30th book in that series by Raymond Feist, and then I read the first book in that series, and now I'm like in the third book, basically. It's kind of vague in the order you can read because some of them happen simultaneously, so just the order I'm reading them now, I'm 3 books in and really, really enjoying it.
All right. I say I was thinking that there might have been some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. Not really. So I think we should just dive right into E3. Sorry, I just heard a noise like a computer noise.
Uh-oh, computer
It
noises.
worried me.
Your computer's
Like,
not on right now, is it?
oh no, of course not.
I think it's because Ross is like sending us messages um, in Google
In the
Hangouts
chat.
and not in our normal chat here in the actual Hangout.
Ah,
But he's
that
gone
is
at the moment,
possible.
so I'm
No,
sure he'll.
at least he's trying.
He
At
is.
least
He
he's
is.
trying. We have a small group today. The group is me and you and Ross intermittently. So
Yes. I
it's
thought we were
okay.
gonna be
It's all
lonely.
right. We can.
I
It's
thought we
like
were
the
gonna be
old.
all lonely.
It's like the old days of I think you think.
Back in the beginning, way back in the day. Like
Yeah, like
earlier this year.
20 some weeks ago.
Oh man. So, anyways,
Anyway, yes,
E3.
E3.
There are a lot of big. They kind of let us know a lot more about both systems. Like if right now they were both out, is there one that you would lean towards buying right away?
Uh, yes. I've kind of gone back and forth. I keep hemming and hawing. When Xbox did their reveal, not their reveal so much as
Presentation.
their presentation. Yeah, the presentation before E3, the day before E3, I was really excited about the Xbox One. I wasn't. I was more excited about it than I was back when they did the first initial kind of rollout, and my excitement has kind of waned because of all of the talk about digital licensing and things like that, and trading games and that kind of stuff. I was excited because I saw the games that were coming out, and I was like, oh wow, I really really want to play a lot of those games. But because of a lot of the trading and stuff, it's actually I've never owned. I didn't own a PlayStation 3. I did own a PlayStation 2 earlier in my life, but I never owned the 3. But because of all that stuff with Xbox, it made me kind of want to lean toward the PlayStation 4. And the only thing that really keeps me on the Xbox is the fact that is just that I'm already so used to the Xbox.
Yeah. I have both, but I've had the Xbox longer, and I had the original Xbox too. Never had a PS2. So Xbox has been like my main playing system for ever. It feels like at this stage. And the Connect functionality and everything that's going to go in with that is very appealing as well. But yeah, the digital licensing, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because when you buy their downloadable games, you'll be able to like loan them to somebody. So I'll be like, oh, I really like this game. And since me and you, I don't know if us being friends on the Xbox network would carry over. You know what I mean? Like if I could use my same, I would presume that you'd be able to use your same.
They have said that there's going to be a seamless transition between your gold account with Xbox 360 and your gold account with Xbox One. It's all the same gold account. There's no difference.
Right. So I could loan it to you so you could try it, but I could only loan it to you once. Have to know each other for 30 days. But that's kind of appealing. I don't know if that overrides the inability for used games in any way, shape, or form, whether it's, selling them or being able to buy them more inexpensively, because a lot of the games I have, I did buy used, I mean, I
Right.
buy my fair share of brand new games, but I like going into, a GameStop or some other used game store online and being like, I'm going to go buy this collection of games that are like 2-3 years old just because I want some new stuff, but I don't, there's nothing new that's out, but I'll still pay my $60, but I'll get 3 games or 5 games for the same amount of money. I really like that aspect, and it seems like the PlayStation is actually going to still have that. Although it might be a harder niche to fill as like a retail store with there really being only the one system that has that, But I think for Xbox, there are some benefits whether it is, I mean, the Kinect seems like it's going to have a lot of awesome functionality, way more than it does at this stage. And also like the integration with TV and sort of being able to overlay on your TV and be able to utilize that is something that I've been excited about, like just envisioning technology sort of getting there where you could be interactive with TV. I imagine, and I don't think this has been mentioned in any way, shape, or form, but you know, being able to watch a movie or a sporting event and actually being able to utilize that to get information. You know, like you're watching, you know, the Blackhawks versus the Bruins, and you know, literally being able to access information relevant to that. You know, like the history of them playing in the playoffs or ever, you know, whatever, like information that's relevant to what you're watching. And that's kind of exciting. But for me, this wouldn't be a problem, but the always on internet connection or once every 24 hours is kind of a frustrating aspect of it. Because I feel like, and somebody mentioned this in one of the things I was reading, like bringing your system on vacation. Now, I've never done that, but I like the possibility of being able to do that. Like if I was to go somewhere that didn't have internet but did have like a TV, being able to like drag my system along. You know, if I was going for a vacation up in the mountains or something for a week, it'd be very exciting. So there's definitely some mechanical aspects and some things that the Xbox One will do that it seems like the PlayStation 4 won't do, that I definitely find exciting. But I don't know, man. That digital licensing is going to hurt it bad. Real bad.
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation 4 really kind of threw the first punch. They came out with a commercial about how to trade games with your friends. Versus, you know, they didn't go into like, this is the way Microsoft does it, this is the way PlayStation 4 does it. They just had a very simple commercial where they said, this is how you're going to be able to trade games with PlayStation 4. Here you go. Thank you. And that was it. And it's very like humorous, and that commercial made me start thinking, maybe I do want a PlayStation 4. I mean, they really seem to be listening to what the gaming community wants, and Microsoft seems more interested in them. They're thinking more on a corporate level as opposed to what the. I mean, I understand that this is the way it's going, and even if PlayStation 4 sticks with this. Even if Sony sticks with this for the PlayStation 4, I'll guarantee that the next generation of gaming consoles, Sony will not. I mean, digital media licensing, that's the future. That's just the way it is.
Right.
That's the direction it's going. I understand that. Just because Sony didn't get on the bandwagon this time doesn't. I'll guarantee that they'll be doing it next time. They're going to see the value in it. They're going to see that it. You know. As our generation continues to get older and the generation my son and his friends are coming up, it's just they're going to get used to it, and it's just going to be the way it is. And so it won't be a huge like shocker like it was really for us.
Right.
Now, I like a lot of you were talking about the sports stuff. I'm not real big into sports or fantasy sports, and so when they were talking about that, for me, I was like, oh, well, there's going to be a lot of people who are interested in that, but I'm not going to be one of them. It's cool that the functionality is there. I won't use it.
Right.
I might use it. I hope. I like the Skyping thing, along with if you can watch a movie and actually watch the movie and like listen to it and hear everything and still have a Skype conversation going on.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. I would love to be able to watch movies again with my brother. Netflix used to have the capability to do this. I haven't checked in a long time. There used to be a theater mode where while you're watching, you could turn on theater mode and be in a chat with other people in your party and watch movies and stuff like that on Netflix. Yeah. I haven't checked in a long time, and they've updated it several times since my brother and I did it last. But that was always cool because my brother and I could watch shows and movies, and my brother and I live states apart, and so this is how him and I play video games online and watch shows together and movies together on Xbox, just because that's how we interact. But the speech recognition stuff for the Kinect, When they first came out with the Kinect, they made it seem so awesome, and it made me want to buy one. I still didn't buy one for probably a year, and after I got it, I thought it was cool, but at the same time, like I was like, I don't feel like it's doing all that they like tried to make it seem that it would do.
Right.
And so when I see them up there showing off these great, cool new Kinect features, I keep thinking to myself, yeah, well, is it really going to be that great when it finally hits? You know, is it?
Right.
The Kinect? I use voice control, pausing, stopping shows. It's gotten to the point where if I'm in my bedroom where I don't have a Kinect, I have to remind myself that I can't use my voice to stop the show.
You're like, pause.
Yeah,
pause,
because
Kinect.
because I remember I have to I got to find the controller again.
Right.
But sometimes it doesn't hear you. I mean, the Kinect functionality is cool, but I have a house that has 2 children in it who are very noisy, and oftentimes just us talking in the room, the Kinect will think we said something. My wife and I might be watching a show, and we'll comment about something, and the Kinect will start fast forwarding, or rewinding, or pause the movie, or something like that, because it thought it heard us say something.
Right.
If the speech recognition is better, then fine. Then we're moving in. The steps that pretty soon we're going to have like Star Trek like computers.
Yeah.
But I hope that the games continue to go in this direction. I know when Kinect first came out, and a lot of the games that utilized Kinect felt very gimmicky, and I used to say, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to put down a controller when I play a game, but it would be kind of cool where if I walk up to a door, instead of hitting an X button or an action button to use it to open or close the door, I could actually just reach my hand up and push, and the door would open. I mean, things like that, those are functionalities I think would be great for games that would make it feel more immersive than me having to stand up and pretend like I'm holding a gun or something like that.
Yeah, and there are games like a Civilization where you could probably play that game almost entirely just verbally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not every game. I mean, some games it is about the reflexes and the timing and everything, and that's part of what the fun of it is. But I really, from everything they've said and all the demonstrations they've shown, it seems like the Xbox One Kinect 2, if you will, is like really up the ante. Like the first one was kind of like a beta. They were playing around with it, seeing what people could do with it. You know what I mean? You make it and it's functional, but they've improved on it greatly from everything they've said. Until they're in, like hundreds of thousands of houses and people are playing around with it, you really don't know. But it's one of the biggest things for me that makes me go, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I would want the Xbox One as opposed to the PS4, because of the Kinect and those kind of advanced functionalities, even though I don't like some of the business model aspect of it that they're putting out there. Even though you're right, it is the future. There's no stopping it.
Well, one of the games that's coming out for the Xbox One, exclusive for the Xbox, so you won't see it on the PS4, is called Rise, Son of Rome. Okay. And I was watching it during one of the during the E3 Xbox thing that they had, where they were, the live broadcast they had. They had one of the developers or something of the game, probably one of the team leaders for something.
Right.
He was on there talking about the Kinect functionality for that game and how it's going to be more where you have your character you're controlling, but you are a commander, and so you will be able to issue voice commands like Archer's Fire and things like that. That the Kinect will do. Now, this isn't the first game that does that. I mean, Mass Effect 3 had Kinect functionality where you could give voice commands. Halo 4, they added it in Skyrim. I don't have those on because a lot of them, it's a button press. There's a few things that you can use with the Kinect that there is no button press. There is no game feature that allows for it. for instance, in Skyrim, you can set a loot limit. Like you're saying, don't pick up anything that doesn't have more of a 25 gold to 1 pound ratio.
Right.
And then you can say loot items, and it'll only loot the items that have that loot limit or more.
Right, right.
Which is great because then you don't have to look through the items or try to figure out. But for the like switching weapons and things like that, I've tried using it, but I find that I'm quicker just to press the button.
And you got to think about it. It's not the habit that we're in.
Right. Now, if games start using basically making additional verbal buttons, buttons that aren't on the controller that you can only access by using a voice, as long as the Kinect has good functionality for it and it's not like crucial verbal buttons that you have to hit, I think you'll be fine. I mean, as long as it's not like a QuickTime event where you have to hit X, then LB, and then say, punch him in the face, or I'm going to get really mad at the Kinect when it doesn't hear me say punch him in the face.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be different because right now, like, you could have or not have a Kinect, but with the new Xbox, everyone's going to get shipped with a Kinect.
Right.
So every developer knows that unless you broke it and didn't buy a new one, every Xbox system out there that they're making a game for has the Kinect. So they could do that. They could make game functionality that is specifically tied to the Kinect. Where now you can't really do that because you have to make sure the game is fully functional for those that have it or don't.
Right, right. And the ones, I mean, they'll have a little label on there that says better with Kinect,
right.
But you can't make the game require the Kinect unless it's a Kinect game.
Right, and you're not going to get major titles, the Mass Effects, the Halos,
right.
The Grand Theft Autos that are going to specifically utilize that, because it's not worth it to them in this market to put that much money into developing a game for a fraction of their market. You know what I mean? And then again, you're talking about Xbox exclusives because the PlayStation 4 is not going to ship with anything similar. So it's, to really utilize that like in a major way in a game, it has to be Xbox only, The
PlayStation 4 will have a something like the Kinect. I don't know if it has verbal controls at all. But it's not with their base model. I mean, that you can buy a higher level PlayStation 4 that includes that. I'm trying to think of what it's called.
It was the Move before.
Yeah,
PlayStation Move.
And I'm thinking, like, I keep coming up with iToy, but I know that was like PlayStation 2 might have even had iToy. There was just a little video for like a video camera for like 3 games that they had for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, while you're looking that up, I wanted to talk a little bit. I assumed you were looking it up because you suddenly sat forward.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about the internet connectivity and some of the digital licensing stuff that I read later on that a few weeks ago when we talked about Xbox One, we didn't have any of this information yet.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to get it out there. You and I have talked a little bit about it already. But some of the stuff that they've said is, one, all of your games will be installed on your Xbox One. In addition to that, they're also on the cloud. What that means is that I can take my profile over to one of my friends' house who also has an Xbox One, and once I sign on, I can access any of my games that I've installed on my Xbox via the cloud. This means that I don't have to lug my Xbox around to my friend's house. I can basically, quote-unquote, take my game over to my friend's house so we can both play it together. In addition to that, the last number that I heard from Microsoft was you will have up to 10 people in your family who can also access that game.
Right.
So I don't know how they'll do families. Right now, I'm in a family plan where I pay $100 a year for up to 4 people to have Xbox Live Gold membership,
Right.
and I'm in charge of the family, and that means that I'm the only one who can purchase Microsoft points, but I can then give those Microsoft points as an allowance to anybody else in the family. If they keep that same kind of thing with the family, it would mean that anybody within my family, any game I purchase, they would also be able to play. And then what's also cool is that if I'm playing a game, up to one other person in my family can also play that same game on a different Xbox, Xbox One, obviously.
Right.
So if, let's say, I'm playing Halo, my son wants to play Halo, and we only have one copy, with the old system, we would have to play split screen on the same Xbox. With the new system, we could play on separate Xbox Ones, and we would play off the cloud in both cases, and it wouldn't,
I just, they say 10 members in the family, and I don't, there's no real detail to that because, my younger brother has an Xbox, but he doesn't live in the same house with me. Could we be in the same family? So either one of us had bought a game, you know what I mean? My brother-in-law.
Yeah, my brother and I were talking about that same thing because we were saying, does that mean I won't have to spend as much on games now? Because any game you purchase, I would also have access to, or vice versa, if we were on the same family.
Right. And then say you have 10 people that are in there. 2 people can play a game at the same time. A new game comes out. Can you buy 5 copies so all 10 people can play simultaneously?
Yeah.
I mean, it's and that's stuff that hopefully we'll learn in the future, but I would presume that a family plan would have to be, in the same IP or something. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to be in the same general location for it to work. And that you probably wouldn't be able to buy multiple copies of the same game. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. And I wonder if there'll be like a home Xbox. Because if we have 3 Xboxes previously, before one of our Xboxes died, we had 3 Xboxes in our house. Now we only have 2. But there's licensings attached to these specific Xboxes. If I buy a game on Xbox Live Arcade, and I purchase it on the Xbox in the media room, the license is attached to that Xbox, which means anybody on that Xbox, regardless of whether or not I'm signed in, can play that game.
Right.
I can play that game on any Xbox that
you're logged in with your account.
As long as I'm logged in and the game has been downloaded onto that Xbox, I have full access to it. I can move licenses, I think, up to twice a year, but it's not like I get to move this license here and this license here. It's more, I would like to transfer every single license to this Xbox right here.
Okay.
I wouldn't do anything other than the one that we have in the media room just because that's the one that I play games on. So if I'm going to play games in the bedroom, I would just move my memory card to the bedroom and it wouldn't be a problem. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of...
But I don't know if there will be... I was going to say, I don't know if there would be specific licenses, specific Xboxes licenses tied to specific players or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, the details of what family, what the requirements are, to make, to have a group of people. Because, it could be really advantageous if, if me and my younger brother and my brother-in-law could all be on the same family plan living in different places, you know what I mean?
Right.
And buy multiple games, that immediately for me takes the edge out of not being able to buy used games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially if we can pay a little bit more for all 3 of us to be able to play a new game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because then, they're going to buy games they're interested in. I'm going to buy games I'm interested in. If the third person's interested, throw another $30 at it, you'd figure, and then all three of us can play. But I don't think it's going to work that way. You know what I mean? You're not going to, or there'd just be groups of 10 people getting together all the time. I mean, even if it's just two, that live in different addresses, it's a huge boon. You know what I mean? You're getting basically every game at half price if you're splitting it with someone who's also a gamer.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect them to do that. And with no resale of games, are they going to?
There will be resale. There will be resale of games. I was going to hit that.
Okay, but only at the publisher's discretion.
No. Well, yes. Basically, this is what Microsoft said. Microsoft said they will not be charging a fee or anything like that to trade the games in. The publishers can choose whether or not they want to charge a fee when you trade the game in. And then, obviously, I would assume that the merchant would decide if that fee would be being paid by the merchant or by the person buying the used copy or by the person who's trading it in. That I would assume would be up to the merchant, and the publisher would be the one who just decides if they're going to charge a fee.
Yeah.
The one thing that when I first heard that I immediately thought of, and I don't buy sports games, but I was thinking of the quick turnaround for like EA sports games from one year to another, and how you buy, I don't know,
MLB, the Major League Baseball game.
Thank you, because I don't know the name of any of them are. So MLB 2014, I would imagine, is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah,
for the next season. And by this time next year, MLB 2014 will be worth half or even a third of what it was this time last year. And most games do not drop in price that quickly, but it's because EA Sports and a lot of the other sports creating publishers. I think EA Sports might be the only one in the game anymore.
No, baseball's got a couple franchises. Football's the one that's only EA.
Okay.
NBA's got a couple. I'm not sure about hockey off the top of my head. EA is the biggest player when it comes to sports games in general because they kind of got one for each, and they're top of the heap in most of them.
Okay. Either way, I would imagine that the sports publishing ones are going to really take advantage of that. But I don't know. I mean, they might, publishers might not want to make gamers upset yet. I think Microsoft went a very tactful way by saying, hey, it's not on us, it's on the publishers. So don't get mad at us if there's a fee involved. It's the publisher's fault. Just don't buy their games anymore.
Yeah. But I wouldn't put tactful on that. I thought it was, it gives them an out. It's cowardly is not the right word for it, but they kind of we're going to do this, but we're going to leave it up to them if they want to, uphold it or not. So
right.
It's going to give publishing companies a chance to, make their own call on it because it is them that basically loses the money.
Right. Well, in regards to like the trade-in stuff really kind of sucking, I agree. I've bought a fair share of a lot of my gaming library are used games. I actually bought the original Mass Effect used for like $20. It was a long time after it had come out. And so, a lot of my game lately, I've been buying games new because there have been really great incentives, or there's been there are games that I've been looking forward to and have really wanted. And sometimes I've gotten burned, and sometimes I was really impressed with the game I ended up with. However, one of the things as I was kind of researching and thinking about it, and you might know this a little better as you've done more gaming on PCs than I have, is the idea of trading in games or buying used games is exclusive to the console market. You don't have that with PCs. That's so for some PC gamers, they're just a lot of them are like, hey, this is the way it's been for us for years.
Oh yeah, and from what I understand, and I've never used the Steam portal on the computer, but Steam will regularly do sales, because it's all digital download. So, and that's the thing. I mean, in this market like that Microsoft is trying to generate, are they going to, initiate, price drops and sales, to compete with that sort of used game market by going, like, oh, Borderlands 3 just came out. Get Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1 for $30 together.
Right.
With all the DLC. Because it doesn't, there comes a point where once you've made the game, it doesn't cost you anymore.
Right.
So even that can generate, like, profit, especially when you're talking about digital downloads, so you don't have any packaging at all. You know what I mean?
And that's
Nothing
really
going on there.
That's really one of the things that I'm disappointed with Microsoft is I think games that have been out for 3 and 4 years that had downloadable content, drop the price on the downloadable content. I mean, seriously,
Please.
or run more sales on them.
Yeah.
I mean, a downloadable content that came out for the name escapes me right now.
Well, the golf game, the Masters from 2012, their DLC, you could pretty much get that game for less than $20 if you're shopping online. To get all the DLCs for it, it would cost you like $100.
Jeez,
It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a bunch of extra courses, and that's fine. But you have to pay attention. How many people are actually buying those DLCs now? Why not drop that cost, cut it in half? Combine them together, make one big DLC that's $20. Then you'll make some money off it. You're going to sell, more than 5 of them for every one you're selling now if it's dropped down that far. So why not do it? You know what I mean?
And the other thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see gaming companies do downloadable content for the pre-order stuff, but like maybe wait a year. Or wait 6 months. After all of your initial purchases are done, nobody's going to be buying that game new for the most part. Maybe offer some of the day one stuff that you could only get if you had pre-ordered it. That way you can get that special gun that you could have only gotten if you'd pre-ordered it.
Yeah, but that's that pisses off people that pre-ordered it. You know what I mean? Because you don't know if it's going to be a good or bad game, so you are taking a risk when you pre-order. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So you don't want to take that out of there. People will just be like, I won't bother pre-ordering it, because that's part of the thing that generates sales. Like you just said earlier, you bought a lot of new games recently because the offers were good. Yeah, it'd be nice to get those things. But if you're paying attention, visiting your local GameStop, and seeing what the pre-order bonuses are, You take advantage by, taking that risk. You get that reward. Sometimes you get, Star Trek. But sometimes you get Bioshock Infinite,
All
So we've been talking a lot about the Xbox.
We're going to transition here real quick.
Looks like I see some new stuff in there that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I was clicking around in there. And there's 2 things I wanted to show. One, I saw these. I didn't really look into it, but they're called fiber optic beads.
Okay.
So it makes me wonder if you can get jewelry that glows.
These beads are fiber optic quartz shaped into beads.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's really bright, but lots of fun colors. They look like little marbles.
Definitely something I'll have to go in there and check it out and see. I think it's probably the way they like enhance light, but I don't know. I got to read it. I don't have any info on this myself.
Yeah. It says, these beads are fiber optic quartz shaped into beads. These are beautiful beads in that they transmit light in strange ways. Round beads have a light center band that shifts based on your viewing angle, resembling a cat's eye.
Neat.
Okay. And then I did also realize that down on the left-hand side, they have a link to Facebook, so I pulled that one up. And so here's their Facebook. And now you can see all my friends' names on there. That's great.
Uh-oh.
I should have signed off. So, yes, I'm Justin R. Sutter. Nice to meet you. Thank you. There you are. All right.
Uh-oh. Now I'm going to start stalking you.
How would that change? No. Anyway,
I'm
all
outside
right.
your house right now.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Oh, no.
So, yes, we had spent a lot of time talking about
That was
the Xbox.
StravaMax.com. StravaMax.
Yes, StravaMax. That was made by the person who makes the jewelry for them. It was the young lady who made our graphics for I Think You Think, that beautiful graphic that you see in the lower.
Again. She has done some very good work for us and been very helpful when we needed her to.
Yep. So we appreciate it and we like to show the love. So go and buy stuff from her. There you go. Okay, so yes, we talked a lot about the Xbox. I'd like to at some point kind of come back and kind of hit our favorite games from E3 that we're really looking forward to in the coming months. We'll get a final kind of, hey, this is I will definitely be buying or pre-ordering this or that, and for systems and or games. But let's talk a little bit about the PS4 and maybe the Steam box.
Well, for me with the PS4, it's more of what you would expect out of the next gen system. You know, all the specs are higher where you'd want them to be, and most of those things are pretty much comparable. You know, whether it's the graphics or the RAM or the amount of hard drive space, it all seems pretty comparable. But it's more what you just expect out of a system. It's more comparable to this, which I don't like. I think when you're looking at it and being frustrated by some of the limits that Microsoft's putting on, it seems, you know, more what we'd want and or expect. But, you know, maybe Microsoft's got it right. You know, maybe Microsoft is pointing to the future, you know, in the right way. But I don't know, like, there's nothing surprising or I don't want to say new, but groundbreaking about what the PS4 is going to be. There's not. Yeah,
I mean, the processing power from what I've read, I guess, is a little better than the Xbox One. They haven't gone into specifics on. There's been conflicting reports on whether or not the processing, the graphics processing, will be actually within the processor, or if there's a dedicated graphics card that kind of runs the processing. But I think everybody, for most of the part, agree that the processing power for graphics will be better in the PS4 than it's supposed to be in the Xbox One, just based entirely on the specs. And then the PS4 is going to have the major advantage of its linkability with the PlayStation Vita.
right.
They already do this with the Vita, where on your PlayStation 3, if you're playing a game and then you're going to go ride the bus to work or something, you can keep playing your game on the Vita. You know, it streams it. Something to that effect. I mean, basically.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a niche market.
Yeah,
in a way.
And
it really is.
That's one of the things that they were saying, is that the Xbox One has dual screen capability through Smart Glass.
Right,
Xbox
so
Smart Glass is going to be huge.
Android tablets, right there.
Exactly. Everybody's got smart. Well, not everybody, but a large group of people have smartphones. Xbox Smart Glass works at the very least for Android. I haven't checked to see if it's iOS capable.
That'd be a huge boon for them if it was.
Yeah.
That would.
But I mean, right now, the way Smart Glass works is I can take my cell phone and I can use it to control my Xbox. I can pause and play movies through Netflix. I can move around on the dashboard and everything. I can press buttons just like I would with a controller. You can't play games with it, but you can use and access the dashboard and for basically everything except for games.
Right.
For the next gen, they were talking about how in Rise, the Son of Rome or something like is what it's called.
Right.
that you'll be able to follow in real time what's going on in your progress through a level. They've mentioned that in some games you'll use Smart Glass to have your mini map. Instead of hitting a button to load up a mini map on your screen, you just pull out your smartphone or your tablet, and there's your mini map. Which I would love to have a functionality like that for Skyrim. It would be great to be able to just choose where I want to go based on a little screen off to the side, rather than having to open up a mini map and look it up.
Right, right. Well, I think the bottom line for me, or what my prediction would be as far as those, because like we mentioned the Steam box briefly, and the Steam box does come to fruition, then and it plays out to what it's expected to be. It is going to take a good chunk of the market. Is there room for 3 actual major gaming systems out there? Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, maybe it just shares the market equally. But from my perspective right now, if Xbox One plays through with its promises properly, can turn Smart Glass into a Vita, the Kinect 2 works as everybody hoped the first Kinect would, the interaction with like your actual TV programming is as awesome as it could be, then in the long run I think it's going to win, because PlayStation will still be just faster, better graphics version of the last gen system, and Xbox One will be all of that plus this cornucopia of other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
I mean, it's $100 more, but all those things can, because now, I mean, with the interactivity with the TV and things like that, it has the potential to become the main piece for your media room home entertainment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where PS4 is just the game system that you've plugged in, in comparison. Right. I mean, you'll still be able to get like Netflix and Hulu, and there'll be a bunch of other stuff it does besides just pop in a game disc and play a game, but we're already used to that. We have that. That's normal, Like, do I want to watch Netflix on my Roku? Do I want to watch it on my Xbox? Do I want to watch it on my PlayStation 4? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know what I mean?
I would venture to guess that PlayStation 4 is going to have some kind of connectability with your cable, like the Xbox One has, only because they both have HDMI playthrough.
Right.
So I would imagine that it will have. Now, will you be able to say to your PlayStation 4, turn on ESPN or something to that effect, like you're supposed to be able to do with the Xbox One? I think that's awesome. That you can tell your Xbox to turn on. It'll turn on your TV. I don't find that creepy. I find it like living in the future to me. I think it's like living in the future rather than it being creepy.
It's another step on a roll of steps we've already been taking.
Right.
We're well along that road.
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent to years ago. I remember being at a friend's house where his cable box, his TV's power was plugged in through the cable box, so he could hit the power button for his cable box, and it turned on the TV as well. And that's really all you're saying that it's going to do. Right. But yeah, you say Xbox on. I don't have a problem with it being able to recognize that it's me and sign me on. That's again, it's a step in the way technology is going. I don't find it as a creepy, invasive thing.
Well, honestly, if somebody's really worried about that and they have a smartphone, they should get rid of it, because if the government really wants to watch you that bad, they can hear you through your smartphone. If they wanted to, the technology's right there. It's got a speaker, it's got a camera. Some of them have 2, front and back facing. That way, no matter which way you lay down your phone, the government can watch you.
That's right.
Watching us right now.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think PlayStation 4. You're right. It's the next gen in gaming. I don't know if it's necessarily the next gen in
that type of technology.
In technology, yeah, the kind of inclusive technology that Xbox One is kind of going for. And I mean, I don't know if this was intentional, but obviously you can see that even in the branding of the names. PlayStation is PlayStation 4. It's the next step above a PlayStation 3, and Xbox One is the one whole thing. I understand that they named it Xbox One because they're saying it's the one system that will control all the rest of your stuff. It's supposed to be all inclusive with a one. Right. But even just rebranding, I mean, Xbox 360, then Xbox One. I mean, they're rebranding that concept, and PlayStation is, taking that next step. I don't think I'm an Xbox fanboy. It's really the only thing I've ever owned in next gen systems. If somebody was going to offer me a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, I would not turn it down. I'd say, hey, thanks. By all means, could you throw a couple of games into, because I don't have any.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that kind of answers the question as to what are you going to buy if you were going to buy it tomorrow.
If for me, if I was going to buy one tomorrow, I would hope that the Steam box was out, because that's the one that I would hedge my bets on. Beyond that, like, I'm not too worried about, like, I don't like the not being able to resell games. I don't like that. But if I was to put my money on one of the, number one, I wouldn't buy one right away. I'm not going to buy one at when it released. I'm not going to be waiting in any line. I'm the kind of person, I'll be patient. I will wait a couple months. Let the masses figure out what's wrong. How bad is it? You know what I mean? How good is it with the rights and wrongs of what they pull out, and then make my decision. So I'll probably be more likely to buy mine with, like, my tax return money, in February or whatever, February, March. Give it a little time for people to, because as much testing as you do, as a company before you release a product as complicated as this, it will never compare to what, a couple 100,000 households are going to put them through, and what they'll learn then. So, I mean, for me, if I was to make a bet, I would say that it'd probably be the Xbox One if it's just those two. Just because I feel like they have they're breaking new ground, like I said, where PlayStation 4 is just, turning the dial up a little bit on what they've already done. But for me, and we've talked about this before, the Steam box is the one that I'm actually most excited about. Because it's basically, from what I understand, and they haven't really given too much detailed information, it's basically going to be a little mini PC, the gaming PC that's made specifically to plug into your TV, which leads me to believe that you'll just be able to browse the internet normally, which gives a lot of video viewing capability, normal Hulu, all the ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, like normal streaming video that you can just watch on your TV. And, a lot of other things that come with that, the ability to just upgrade it on its own. Like right now I have the PS3 and the Xbox. I could see owning a Steam box and an Xbox One. That's the pair that I could see myself having. What about you? Where are you sitting on the final verdict?
I'm not as interested in the Steam box. The price tag $500 to $1,000 seems like a lot. The price tag for Xbox One for $500 seems much more reasonable. With the Xbox 360, I spent somewhere around $1,000 for one of the first ones, but it also included all of the launch titles.
Yeah.
And like an extra controller and things like that. So it was a huge package that I bought. But Microsoft is doing like a day one incentive. Like if you're a gold member and you pre-order an Xbox One and you get it, you pre-order a day one Xbox, you get like a free controller and stuff like that that's supposed to be coming with it.
Pre-orders. Damn those pre-orders.
But here's the thing. You actually have to pre-order. When you pre-order, you have to pay full price. You have to pay for the whole thing.
I always do that when I pre-order stuff anyways. If I'm pre-ordering, it's because I can afford it right now.
Okay. All right. So I'm not too. I'll I'll probably put it on my Best Buy card and finance it for a year, so I don't have to dump $500 out of my checking account right now. I can just pay it off a little bit, do 0% finance for the next year
Yeah.
on it, or 18 months. I think I would probably be able to get on it. But I will most likely. I mean, the only thing that's stopping me from pre-ordering it right now is just because I haven't been into a Best Buy in the last week. I mean, I will definitely pre-order the Xbox One. I will be one of those people who get to test it out immediately. I don't know if I'll pre-order any games along with it. I'd like to, but I don't even know where to start because there's a lot of great ones that are coming out.
I don't know what the release titles are, but the one that really jumped out at me was the new Need for Speed game because I just love those games. I love those games to death. Even the bad ones, I still love them.
Okay, yeah, and Need for Speed is actually coming out for both of them. Both
Ooh,
the PlayStation
that reminds me.
4 and the Xbox One.
Elder Scrolls Online, I think, is going to be only the PS3.
No, that says, according to the website that I've got here, it's showing that it's for both.
Okay.
However,
the one thing that was really pushing me towards the PS3 when I was reading, or PS4.
oh, okay. I'm seeing on this one I've got neowin.net/news/list of Xbox One and PlayStation 4 exclusive games. It's showing both of them for that. However, there's an asterisk, so I don't know. Also on other non-next-gen platforms, so Xbox 360 and things like that. For the Xbox One, because that's what I'll be buying. My son really liked the game called Project Spark. I don't know if you've seen it. If you guys get a chance, look into it. Basically, it's imagine if you had a game like Minecraft, but it's not like that pixel kind of look. It looks more like a souped up, beautiful version of like something like Fable.
Okay.
But you have all of these controls to make your own kinds of games. Like you can make anything. It's kind of like a 3D version of what was that PlayStation 3 game that was a launch? I don't know if it was a launch title, where you had the little puppet things that you could walk around on. The screen is a 2D game. It was a side scroller.
I don't know.
I can't think of what it's called. But anyway, it's kind of like where you can. It has unlimited potential for user created content.
Yeah.
And you can do like anything. I mean, you can click a rock and turn it into some sort of a creature, and it's watch the video on it just to get an idea what the game is, because it looks great. My son is really interested in that. Halo, I've always been a Halo fan. The one that I was like, oh man, that looks cool is Crimson Dragon.
Okay.
There was a game for the original Xbox called Crimson Skies, and I believe that this is supposed to be the same kind of concept. In Crimson Skies, you flew planes. It was like a fighter pilot game. With this one, it's the same kind of idea, except you're flying dragons.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Dead Rising 3.
Okay.
Looks amazing. Dead Rising 3 just looks amazing. So.
And I know Red Dead Redemption sequel is getting made for the next-gen systems, but they didn't seem to talk about it at all at E3. So hopefully that's not an exclusive and I get the wrong system, because I'd be really upset. That is a game that would make me buy the other system if I bought the wrong one.
You should also watch the video for Sunset Overdrive.
Okay.
It's sort of like a Borderlands-esque game where you can play with lots of multiplayer, open world sort of game. It looks like killing lots of things and kind of that cartoony sort of aspect to the visual style.
Yeah.
So yeah, you look into Sunset Overdrive. That might make you want to do the Xbox One instead of the. Well, you already said the Xbox One.
Yeah. I mean, I think our consensus here is that the Xbox One, I think the potential, and I mean, it's probably a little biased because both of us have more consistently played the Xbox's systems than the PlayStations. But I think, when you if for anyone who can just stop grumbling for a minute about the digital licensing, myself included, because I'm a grumbler about it myself, and look at just what it actually offers and not what it might be taking away from what we're used to. It offers a better package. It offers a higher level of possibility. But so I think you think Xbox One.
There you go. We're calling it for Xbox One. So
there will be no overtime. But, there's still a lot to learn. We only know so much at this stage.
And neither one of them have given a hard, fast date on when they're coming out. Xbox is the only one that's given any sort of date, and what they've said is November.
Right, which is a lot of days.
Yep, and PlayStation 4 has only said holiday season. So I would assume that they're going to come out in basically the same time. Remember that the last time the consoles came out, they were a year apart. The Xbox came out first and the PlayStation a year later. So
right,
it should be.
That hurts. That'll always hurt. Whoever gets to market first, especially with that big of a gap, is always going to have an edge because people want the next gen system. So you get out first, you get in more houses. As long as you do it right, But Steambox is supposed to be this year. But
they're saying holiday of 2013 as well.
Yeah, but they said that a long time ago, and they've been quiet for quite a while. So, we'll see.
Oh well, I think that's a good place to stop. We spent an hour talking about the systems that were debuting at E3. There was only one game that I was really interested in for the PlayStation 4. But it wouldn't be enough to make me buy the PlayStation 4 just for the one game, and it was Don't Starve. It's a game that already exists for PCs that you can purchase. The game is exactly what it is. Don't starve. You're just this little guy in this land where you have to build things and make things and not starve.
And
eat
survive.
Things and survive. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You could buy a Steam box. I'm sure you could play it on the Steam box.
That's right. Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on I Think You Think for our 27th episode. There we go. Next week we should be talking about something political or social. James and I were chatting a little bit about it before the show. We had discussed talking about the
Prism.
Prism. The National something NSA, the National Security Administration. They're wiretapping, not wiretapping. That's not the right way to say it. They're
massive data collection.
Yeah, of metadata. Collecting, and then our sort of feelings about it, and maybe some more specific information on it. Aside from that, we'll have to talk and see if there's anything else that we want to kind of hit on politically / social stuff. So there you go. Thanks again for joining us, guys. Please remember to like the video, share it on Facebook, share it on your Twitter, share it on your blog. The more people that we have interacting with us, the more content that we have. So. We really appreciate you guys for watching the video, and for those who come out to our chat and join us. So, all right, that's it. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.